Hello everybody, so welcome to this really exciting edition of LinkedIn Live, where I am super excited for our special guest, Mr. Osman Sultan, who is the CEO of Do. Welcome. Have you done a LinkedIn Live yet?
No, that's my first actually. I'm very excited about that.
Okay, great. So we're here today really to talk about what is the role of people and culture and really what is going on with the digital transformation and enterprise. And I would love Osman to share some of the views about his journey. And you are really well known as a people person. Like, wherever I go and I talk about you, the first thing they say is you really are, like, people love you everywhere, your staff. And so you got that bit right. Congratulations.
Well, that's a good thing actually.
Yeah.
No, and I like to think that it doesn't come, as just by accident.
Yeah.
It has been really a deliberate way of being, more than a modus operandi. It has been my way of doing things by putting people at the center of what I do. Actually, one of the nice consequences is that you get people to like you, to love you, as you said. But I found as well that this is the best way of really ensuring to deliver on the targets you put, on the things you are committed to deliver to your shareholders, to your board, or whatever. So it's really a way of doing things.
Exactly. So describe, what was Dubai like when you've been at Do for forever, right? So describe how long exactly.
Yes, listen, I'm going to solve this problem for you. You've been at Do forever. No. I had the immense privilege of being given this mandate to create the new telco in the UAE. And believe me, it was not something easy or light. So I felt that this is really a big responsibility. And I've been the founder, CEO of Do. I'm engaged with them since June 2005. Wow. Started my engagement. Although formally the company has been set up and existed in the late 2005, but we started to work. There was a team already, as a startup. And that's the beautiful part of that. You always keep extremely fond memories about these first moments. Of course, everything was different. Dubai, the UAE, that was different. So I'm here since almost 15 years. But where I said I'm going to solve the problem, I'm not going to be here for long. And thinking about, okay, how is journey looking like? In 2016, I put in place a CEO succession plan that we put in 2017, early 17. We started preparing some of the leadership people to take, the next level of roles. We put a whole framework. We established a methodology. And I clearly said at the time to my board, previous board, that 2020 would be the time where I'm seeing this to come to a completion. And here we are. So my last days of work will be the end of 2019. So come 2020, as I really planned, I will step down from my role as Chief Executive Officer in do. And the intent now for me personally is I'm moving to a different kind of journey. I'm more moving to more non-executive roles, supporting, advising, strategizing, doing a little bit less of operational aspects.
Yeah.
I've been CEO of publicly traded companies since 22 years and CEO since 24 years. So
Wow.
that's something. So the intent is to move as well more to be closer to something that is very dear to my heart, the entrepreneurial universe and the ecosystem. To be in this entire universe, there are a lot of things happening, and we hear all these buzzwords, in all shape and form. We hear about AI, of course. I'm starting by, like they say, noblesse oblige in French, AI. But you have now 5G, a big buzzword. You have IoT, you have blockchain, you have robotics, quantum computing. Everything is while all are somehow interlinked.
Yeah.
But I think that seeing how these buzzwords fit in one kind of ecosystem is something I'm passionate about. And we've been thinking about these things in the last, I have been in that kitchen, because when you are in a telco and when you live all these transformations that are changing the way people do things in their lives, I consider myself as being really privileged, as being at the heart of these transformations. I am intending to really continue in, hopefully, of being relevant in this space.
Amazing. And I think what's important I know we've got a global reach here where people are tuning in from all over the world. For those of you who are not familiar with Do, it's not like the US, right? In the US, you have many different telcos, and in this part of the world, we don't. There's only two, and Do has done a great job, really, of dominating the market. Like, you've done some great stuff, right, over the years. So to be leading one of only two telcos in the whole country, I mean, how many, every time I go for meetings that Do, I'm showing our humble offices here, and I was like, the amount of change that you must have seen during that time.
Believe it or not, I'm here in the Searchy offices, and actually it's very, very nice vibes you feel. But believe it or not, we started in offices that were much less finished, smaller than these. We were few people getting together and starting to build everything. But of course, we are in a domain that is meant to grow very quickly, telecom being so. That was, I would say, managing the scaling, which is always a challenge for any company, any entrepreneur, any startup. Managing the scaling was a major challenge that we had.
So people, let's go back to
back to
people and culture. Like, how did you, you obviously have created this culture at Do, and how at the front of mind was it when you're busy kind of starting a company, growing and scaling? What challenges have you seen, or have you managed to kind of create the culture or look at people? Like, how do you even start with that? Was it a default culture that you had and then you wanted to retain it, or did you have to change?
No. You never have a default culture. I think that, and it just doesn't happen by letting things just happen or being yourself. As I said, it has to be a methodology.
Yeah.
We identified what are the levers to deliver on our business. So I might start by a reverse order. My main target, I was brought to deliver value to my shareholders. If I want to deliver value to if I want to have happy shareholders, I need to have happy customers. But then if you want to have happy customers, the people who are delivering the value to these customers need to be happy. Otherwise, that will reflect. So it's it's a snowball effect. It's a dominoes effect. So I had to start by saying, I need the people working for this company to be happy. That will then translate into, for sure, they will be better to make the customers happy. And if you have your customers happy, that's for me the simplest, but I might be a very trivial person. That's for me the easiest way to create value to shareholders and make them happy. So it might seem very simplistic, but believe me, translating this into everything you do. And I used to be asked very often, by people, here you're coming, you have already an incumbent operator that is here since decades.
Yeah.
What is the recipe? And I used to say, there is not really one recipe. I think it is disciplined and methodological and hard work approach that we need to exercise every day we come to work.
Yeah, consistently.
We need to ensure that consistently we are. Now, of course, there is in a world that is changing, in a world where more and more you see uncertainties because of these transformations that are happening, you need at some point to decide how you deal with the vision. You need to have a vision. And the sentence I very often use when asked is, be stubborn on the vision, but you can't be stubborn on the execution, because the frameworks are changing, the context is changing, the environment is changing. So be adaptable when it comes to execution, but be stubborn on this vision, that this is what is driving things to happen.
So I asked Osman like a while back, I said, what would be your one bit of advice to me for scaling Searchy and everything that we're facing? This is exactly the advice that you gave me. You were like,
and this is for scaling, because you need to be, as I said, I told you, you have to be stubborn on your vision, because, and I told you, I love the vision you have. It's really, but you will have to be adapting
agile,
to context and agile in the execution. And that's the right recipe. And it requires some work on ourselves, because that stubbornness can very easily expand to be stubbornness on the execution. No, you want it executed this way, etc., and that might be sometimes a reason to fail. Or you are adaptable, so you come and then you start compromising on the vision. So you need to really keep this balance and do some work on yourself.
And it's tricky. It's tricky,
It's not easy. It's not obvious. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a kind of a bit of a it's not something we're used to.
Yes, some schizophrenia. You have to have some schizophrenia in navigating into this.
And I think talking about this then translates into behavior in the workplace.
Yes.
And companies right now, especially big, large organizations, are going through digital transformation.
Yes.
I love, there's a very popular title that you have, which does make me smile. And then when I've heard you speak, like, it very much resonates in the world that we're living in today. How are enterprises preparing for the transformation, and what are they, are they on the right tracks?
Yeah, well, first of all, in the last years, we have seen, at least the good thing is that all companies, I speak with the CEOs and top exec from various verticals, various domains. Now they're all convinced that it's not about, digital transformation is not only about the technology. Every sector you are going, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, you are in a digital transformation. Now, that's the good news. There is awareness. Now, sometimes you have laziness in the approach, where it usually starts from what you offer to your customers. So what I call the front end with the customers. And the danger is that sometimes at the level of boards, you have the management, you have the customer interfacing people. They say, listen, look, that's the app. Looks very cool. We digitized our channel. That's it. We have done our digital transformation.
So they transfer the front end into...
Yes, so they think that because you do not have necessarily this type of knowledge of what it takes to. So the entire part of this factory, the transformation of this factory, which is starting from your entire IT stack, your entire processes to deliver what you have to deliver. By consequence, your entire organization structure, the entire upskilling or new skills that you need to have, the entire culture, we're moving more and more to it, creating a new culture that is needed in this time and age where our customers are totally dealing. They don't want to go anymore to a shop or to a branch or to, they want to do as much as possible on their phone.
Yeah.
So you need, that is a holistic approach, really. That is a 360 approach that you need to contemplate. So these are the challenges that in these companies, in their preparation, is that at some point, they do not take it really enough holistically, or they don't
They just look
really
at a piece.
consider.
Yeah?
They consider. They look at the symptoms
Yeah.
of it. We have a nice app. Our customers are booking or buying, etc., online. But how sustainable, adaptable, modular this could be, because that is changing constantly. The culture in dealing within our organizations with other entities. I say more and more that we moved from a world of unshared certainties. You know, when I started 36 years ago in the telecom, we didn't need to talk to any other sector. We didn't need to have really ecosystems built with banks, with film studios company, music companies, IT companies, etc.
It was silo, right?
It was siloed.
Yeah.
We know, we have our certainties, we don't need to share it with you other guys. And guess what? The work was done because these people, they knew their business. Engineers, telecom engineers, and they had, you know, at that time, regulators didn't exist.
Yeah.
So even the regulatory environment that is more and more complex, that is challenged by coping with the changes that are happening and catching up, didn't exist. These companies had power of state.
Yeah.
Okay. Today, that was the unshared certainties. Today, we are moving to the shared uncertainty. Every day, I sit with various different sectors, banks, hospitality, IT, film industry, music industry, content, aggregate, etc. But we are still sharing business models that are being transformed, being not sure, not certain. And guess what? They will never be certain. So the entire culture of driving these relations within the organization, same story. Marketing department used not to have a lot of talks with the technology department or with the IT department, or they used to exist. All the things, all these buzzwords today, data analytics, blockchain, AI, are cross-functional across all this.
Yeah.
Where do you recruit your data analytics person? Is he supposed to be in sales, a marketing person, in the data warehouse part, and where do you put your digital officer? Should he be just in a silo, or this is across the entire company?
Yeah.
So that is as well creating a new way of inside the company as well as outside the company, a collaborative approach, which is why the entrepreneurship ecosystem is fundamental, because this is how you start. You start by people sitting around the same table, like I see here in these offices, and sharing all these ideas flowing, some of them being completely unrealistic, but guess what? We throw them on the table.
Yeah.
We take something, we filter this, no, this is completely not feasible, this is feasible, why you're saying is, that is the spirit.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to move part of that culture within large organizations. Not easy. Very much more easier to say, to talk about it in a nice, in a nice LinkedIn broadcast or on slides than implementing this, systematically in our organizations.
So what advice would you give, like I think coming from the enterprise angle, especially at the C-level, what advice would you give to enterprises that are experimenting or exploring AI and technology? Where should they start? Because I do think there's a lot of confusion out there, wherever I go in different countries, about the capabilities of AI, and that people think it's like robots going to destroy the world and humans are not going to exist. So what advice would you give to enterprises?
The Terminator 1, 2, 3 syndrome, I love it as well, You know, and Arnold Schwarzenegger who's saying to us that he will be back. So I love that. And guess what? He is back.
He is back.
He is back. And I love that. And by the way, I'm a fan of all these movies, all these science fiction movies. So don't take what I'm. Yes, you're right. It's not easy. First of all, AI has this. You know, there are always two ways of dealing with things. And I kind of try to summarize in a provocative way, saying it's either fear or greed. The driver is not the same. If a community, a tribe, is under severe nature conditions, you are under, you know, some storms or some, you are driven by fear, the sense of survival. You have to find the protection. You're not thinking about what am I going to do things better or to win about the other. Then when things are easier, you start what I call greed. I don't like the word because people see it as negative. I don't see it like that. Is, you know, the desire for more. Then you can have the desire for more, not limiting what you want to the basic, you know, basic level. Facing something, new concept, sometime we never know. We start by reacting by fear. Is this something that is going to threaten my business? So a lot of people are...
So that's normal mindset?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No. You have to assess it. Is there something in this that's going to threaten my business? So there is a need for C-level, because this was your question, to be educated about what can AI bring.
I agree, yeah.
Once you do this, hopefully you will see, you know what? No, if I do the right things, there is no need to worry. So then you move to the greed part. And it's always, the cursor will always be there. What I mean by the greed part, then you are interesting, but maybe there is a way for me then to gain in my business, to do things differently, to be
a superstar.
To be, okay,
transformation.
I am, and I've been looking at various type of use of AI. I'm recruiting people. Maybe I can be much more efficient, much more accurate, gain in time, gain in quality, gain by using this capability, using AI. So then the thinking starts to build differently. The efficiency of my company, using AI and robotizing some of my processes might help me doing things much more efficiently. So this is, for instance, in our company, we started with that. We have a lot of processes, etc., that gain to be automated, where AI can bring some value, and this is what we are doing. Robotizing a lot of processes, taking away the factor of error is really reduced, the time factor is really reduced. So a lot of these. And I think that this exercise, this discipline has to happen. If you are today at a C-level in a company, in any sector, you cannot not sit on a piece of paper, get yourself educated and say, okay, let me see how AI have the ability to threaten. First, let me do the first thing. Take this away when you're convinced, no. And then allow me to do my business, take it to totally a different level.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a brilliant way to put it. Can we let's take some of your questions. Sorry, I didn't mean to be ignoring you. we were just in such a good flow, so I didn't want to interrupt Osman. So we have some questions. Looking forward to hearing.
Yes, Basil has a question about the 5G.
Ah, okay.
5G. And actually, 5G is one of these buzzwords as well. And Basil is quite right in saying that this have the potential of doing. Now, Basil's question is mainly on the healthcare aspect. Is there a risk on healthcare? I'm not an expert, but of course, with my hat as CEO of a telecom company, I have people that are assigned and that work, and we look at everything that has been published. So today, I have no reasons to be more worried about the healthcare effect of 5G more than
normal.
We are worried about other generations of mobile technology. So, but Basil is quite right to ask this.
Still a point.
To ask this question. Now, you know, since I started in 1998 as a CEO, and even before that, actually, when I was in charge of the bid for a license in Egypt, and I was asked about this question, and I was always saying that we rely on studies or policies that exist in countries that, okay, we cannot suspect of being negligent on the health of their citizenship, you know, Scandinavia, Switzerland, etc., which have a track record of being even more cautious about issues related to health and hazard. So honestly, I'm very sincere. Just to make it to say an anecdote. When I was at the time in Egypt, I came and I had a request that a telco operator wants to install an antenna on the building where I was living. And of course, there was two telco at the time, like here, Vodafone, and what was called Mobinil. I created Mobinil, and I said, which? They said Mobinil. I said, well, let us listen to. And it just happened that I was living on the top floor. So literally, the antenna was installed on the top of the roof of the room where my children, they were 2 years old and barely were there, were living. So I said, I cannot say no because the guy said, but if you don't feel comfortable. I said, how can I live by asking people and sending my engineers to convince people to sit? If I think that there is some slight danger, and because I'm a little bit concerned, I don't do it. How can I just look at myself in the mirror? So I said, of course not. They said, do you want? I said, can I just make the test myself as well that you do? So I was strapped and I had this counter, and I leaned from the window to take to which, and I checked by myself that the radiation was less than when you pass next to the TV. You put the TV on, the radiation, because there is always a radiation, a TV, and our kids are glued so you put the TV on, there was a little bit, the needle moved a little bit more than whatever I tried to get close. Of course, if you are a meter from this antenna to just at it, then it's a different story. But this is the design of the network is made in such manner. So I really speak here as an individual, not even with my hand.
Yeah, and you turned the other side and you said, okay, me
as an individual. If you pass next to your microwave, I don't tell you what the needle will do. It's much more. So things that are used in our domestic life are much more, could be, that's just...
It's a perception sometimes as well, right? Harvey, you've got a question. Can you see that, Osman? Sorry, I can't read from...
Yes, Harvey, have a question. How are companies like Du involved in the local startup ecosystem? Excellent question. We had startup ecosystem and the company's daily operations. And the company's daily operations, Harvey, you're right, not enough, in my opinion. But in our entire ecosystem, we are. How is that? We do not have, it was a decision, we do not have a corporate VC. As some large companies, they decide that they have their own corporate VC. STC, for instance, in Saudi, they have STC Venture.
Yeah.
We do not have that. That was a decision. But we are part of some accelerators. We are officially a contributor to some accelerators that exist within an ecosystem that is close to what we do. That's the tech space. But for instance, there is around the Dubai Smart City, there is an incubator. So we are part of that. And we constantly have interactions with these startup companies to see. So we keep it adjacent to our business.
Yeah.
If we feel it a little bit. And with these companies, we can see how we can collaborate. Silicon Oasis, they have the same. They have created a kind of accelerator. And we are a shareholder. We are financial contributor to this. So whenever we can, but that is not, as Harvey was rightly asking, is absolutely right. We're not involving them in the daily operations, etc. It's on ad hoc basis and on technology that can bring an added value to our core business.
And I think also for companies that are that big, they normally have to have some kind of faith in the startups, right? Startups have to be ready to take on a company like Do as well, right? So if you're at ideation stage and you just launched and you're testing your MVP, maybe they're not the right people to go to, right? So when I look at Searchy, when we launched, we started with the really small companies that we wanted just for them to test and give us feedback. We're not going to go to Do for that.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Do when we're ready for Do, right? And then have
You're right.
discussions. So as a startup and a founder, also know what your limitations are. Do you have enough? Is your team big enough to support? And then slowly go into that. And I think we're fortunate enough in the UAE that the government does want that collaboration between private and public, and there are going to be way more initiatives happening. And it's down to you as a founder, get yourself out there and contact people and try to make it happen, right? What's the worst that can happen? People have to experiment and evaluate, and I love here that it is quite open to that. I know in the UK you can't even get through to this. No way you could get through to the CEO of a telco company. The PA would just be like, hello, thanks, bye. We'd be lucky if you get enough through to that person. So I think we are fortunate. We have to work with what we've got. Any other questions? We've got some more questions there. We've got and Tony, I think, has got a question as well.
About the data.
Okay.
The data, what is now known as the new oil data. That is Z who is asking this very accurate question. Let me step back and share with you a thought over the last 20 years. I just was thinking about who are the people who saw their wealth really spiking very rapidly. If you see the type of, and I noticed that all the names that we saw in the mid-90s are related to telco. The Mittal Ambani in India, Carlos Slim, Latin America, Sawiris, Mikati in this region, and others, Khurafi, they were in the telco space, the mobile operators people. And I call this the customer dividend. The name of the game was you add more customers because you know that the more you have customers, the more. And by the way, this wealth was directly measured to cash flow. People, these companies were having obscene cash flows at the time. I'm talking the mid to late 90s. Early years 2000, we started to see a new breed of companies, not based on any cash flow. And the mistake that the telcos did saying, but these companies, look at their EBITDA, or look at they're not generating. How are they going to make money? The Facebook, the Twitter, the WhatsApp of this world. And these are the people who made really the spike in their wealth. Mark Zuckerberg, Ian from Facebook, the founder of Twitter. And these people, that era, I call it the data dividend. Because what these people were doing were just allowing people to communicate, and their wealth came from the amount of data that was circulating. Content, etc., that was as well started. The next era, the era where we are in, it's not mainly about data, because these big guys now are having all this data. The next era is about the experience. I call it the experience dividend. This is the guy telling you, listen, you take a taxi, you used to take a taxi, I'm going to offer you something that will make your experience totally different.
Yeah.
Travis Kalanick or Mudassir and Magnus for Kareem. You order your food in a certain way, I'm going to allow you a different experience. Talabat, Deliveroo, Zomat, whatever. You are buying, and that Jeff Bezos started this idea mid-90s. Gosh, I'm saying why I didn't invest mid-90s and in Amazon. Why? Now that you remind me of this,
I have more recent conversations about why did I not invest in Kareem?
Why didn't I invest with Jeff Bezos in the mid-90s? I think he would. And now where would I be? I'd be on this stage having the pleasure.
You'd be on a yacht. You wouldn't be sitting here talking to me.
No, but on a serious tone, their proposal was about a different. Although Amazon main business was on the data, the cloud, the AWS, etc., is a different. But the experience part is today what is making the difference. It's not anymore about the data part. Is when we talk about the YouTube of this world, when we talk about these people moving tremendous amount of data. Now, every company, from Searchy to biggest, we generate with our customers a tremendous amount of data. First of all, there are two things in our thinking. There should be. One, how can this data help us do our business better, have the insight to recycle that and being more proactive to our customers, to their needs, anticipating better.
Learning from that data in a good way.
The learning can happen with what we call data science. If you want the prediction part, you touch AI immediately. You asked me the question about what to do with AI. AI will allow you to add much more predictive capability from the insights you get from normal data science you get. Be it a company or a city. And the smart city concept, where we are privileged because we are the partners of the smart city ambition of Dubai. One of the things where we use AI is to get this prediction in the modeling that we do to allow the city to better predict, plan for a longer future, ensure the sustainability, ensure that you take today decisions based on data that will allow you for the city in 10, 15, 20 years. So that's the first thing, how you can use data to do your business in a better way. The second thing is that could be something you can monetize. The data you have in any business, the data you have can be something that can be very useful to somebody else either to enrich the data they have or to have as a main reference to do their business in a better way. And that becomes a commodity that you sell.
Yeah. And I think just to clarify on that point, because it is a very sensitive topic when we're talking about AI, and especially us when we're doing video interviews, is that it's not the individual data, it's more about the aggregated data.
That's fundamental.
Yeah. So I want to clarify.
Thank you, because people are extremely concerned.
Yeah.
This is not, and when I speak about and in our network, it is not the data saying that Sahika, this, etc., with this ID number. No, this is a use that cannot, whether it is for what we call open data or even the data that can be monetized, even if it's not really publicly open. These are anonymized data based on aggregation. Shahika will be part of a category, bright females between 20 and 30, living in this, doing that with this type of interest, interested in whatever, etc. These are the clusters that will be used, of course.
Yeah, and I think
you have to return to me the compliment between 20 and 30.
Between 20
that
and 30.
You owe me one. No, not for me. Not for me. Age is not.
So I think, again, I just want to clarify to people that one of the biggest things about AI is, oh my God, my data is going to be public, it's going to be shared, it's going to be sent to someone I don't want it to share. That is not going to happen, especially not with Searchly, because data ethics around AI are super important. And I think that if you have founders like me that are passionate about making a difference to the world, difference to lives, I'm not looking to be sneaky about AI and trick people into doing stuff and then selling them everywhere. Like, that's not our goal. But aggregated data does give some incredible insights. And even right now, we're doing a project with an amazing bank in the region, right? And we're going to be rolling this out to many exciting companies. They don't know what the culture of their company is right now.
And this is even more valid, Sahika, if you allow me to add, that your positioning on AI is quite unique and extremely interesting. You are applying AI to human insights. I mean, I mentioned AI applied for robotics to increase productivity. We do this. I mentioned AI applied to data within a company to increase the productivity of a company. I'm liaising with a company that does that for various things. You are having this, which is really the antithesis of this Terminator syndrome, because we're really placing human at the heart of it. And so this makes it even more important. And you know what? Even if it was not you with this, passion about that, regulations, ethics, not only regulations will not allow this to happen. So I fully agree with you. I think that the people who are listening to us need to be extremely comfortable that the frameworks will be there to protect this privacy.
Exactly. And I think this is really important for founders to make sure that whatever business you're doing, especially with technology and AI, that you're transparent. You're honest about the fact that you're using AI and how are you using it, and prepare people. Like, I hope one day it becomes so common to people to be doing this that they already have reached a level of, it's like WhatsApp conversations, right? I'm sure whatever happened for the first time went through, I wonder where this ends up and what happens here and so on. But people have got comfortable with it now, and it's kind of human nature. So I think, what have you enjoyed when it comes to people and talent? Like, you've had, I know what the answer is that I'm looking for, because I know some of the stats of the results of some of the people that you've really elevated. So what's been the fun part of Do?
What's been the fun part of Do, and what's been the fun part, because you, and how can we be surprised, put always the accent on this, people. Generally speaking, in my career, not only the fun, but the rewarding part is, some people reminds me sometime, including some executive search companies. One of them was telling me, I interview a person for a CEO, and when I look, he tells me, I used to work with For Osman. I found this extremely rewarding. 22 people that worked for me at some point became CEOs in multiple geographies. And the most rewarding thing that can happen, of course, other than your family, your children, and the things, and your beloved people, is when these people, or a person sometimes meets me at the mall and tells me, you know what, maybe you don't remember, you transformed my life. I'm so touched when I hear this. I feel humbled, and I feel that it was worth it. So that's the reward part, beside the fun. The fun is as well linked to people. Just today, we were in a meeting, and one of my top executives turned to me, and I guess he's sincere. In 2 months, I'm not going to be CEO. So he's not looking for a better bonus or a promotion. Fella told me, we're going to miss your sense of humor. That's the fun part. When you come to work and you are really enjoying seeing this team, you know what they are. You know that this is no, I need to drive this person because this person has the tendency, or, you know, you're dealing with people that have all their values, their really great heart, great passion, great determination, and you are, you have something that has been a responsibility, is make something out of them. And you know what? I learn from these guys as well, constantly. And I don't have any problem sometimes telling them, you know what? You told me this. I have an opinion. They tells me different opinion. You're right. Immediately. So this is, I think, this is one recipe in order not to have this barrier with other people. Ego has to become really, and you need to base it on facts, data. This to back to the question that Z asked about, you know, being a data driven. Okay, show me. You're absolutely right. I thought that this was something different. So that, and I'm not a person who's, you know, this. How would I call it? I'm trying to find the right wording. I'm not about, yeah, we're all just, you know, getting together and going to sing a very nice song, kumbaya, all together. No, we had tough moments, but these tough moments made us come together better.
Yeah.
How you make this construct has been the fun part.
Yeah.
Always.
Brilliant. No, that's really...
You tough moments make companies, make the culture, cement the culture of a company. And when you see, every time I have an annual gathering, and you have something like 1,300, 1,400 people that gather in one place. So either the World Trade Center, one day it was the opera, the entire stage of the opera. You know, I was always dreaming of being on the stage of the opera, singing.
That could be your next move.
I was there, but I couldn't sing. I had to talk to. So, and every time, I can't help by just thinking, oh my God, the first time I made this, I was talking to something like 20, 25 people in a small place in Dubai Internet City 4. We were just sitting, like we went down next to, and I was talking to them, telling them, you know what, we're going to do great things. And now I'm seeing, you know, this crowd and a very nice setup, 1,400 people. So I say, so we must have done something right by doing all this. That's the fun part. That is where you feel, wow.
Yeah, no, good for you. You've done an amazing job. So I'm actually excited for your next part of journey. I said to Osman, I think you're going to be more busy than you ever have been.
It seems like that. That's what's scaring me.
Getting ready to slow down, but definitely it's not going to be happening from what you're
like
telling me.
It seems like that.
So we'll take some more questions. Harvey's quite active. What questions have we got from?
Hisham, yes. How do you mitigate the shortage in skills and local talent as far as analytics, AI, and data science are concerned? Hisham, absolutely to the point, really. I think that, generally speaking, in a lot of geographies, unless you are in the Silicon Valley or in some technopoles, these are new areas. So I know, for instance, because I am part of a platform on education that is driven by His Highness Sheikh Nahyan, his sponsoring it and looking, where the idea is precisely to ensure that we have what it takes to build these skills and to create a pool of talent locally. If because the UAE has at the level of leadership this ambition to be at the forefront of these digital transformation as a nation, you need the number one ingredient, which is talent and skills.
Yeah.
So Hisham, you're absolutely right. I don't have the recipe, but I know that some people need to get together and start building on this platform together with academia, together with private sector, together with government, together with the entrepreneurship ecosystem, to see how we can more and more accelerate the upskilling of these talents, these new disciplines.
So I have some ideas about that, and I think the beauty of doing Searchy here, you really have to understand the Arab region. So we're a global business, we exist in many countries, but the beauty of being here is that bringing talent in to the region really is what made Dubai, right? And the UAE the way it is that 90% of the population is expats. So bringing in this expertise into the region and really nurturing the talent that is here to get them to that level and upskilling. And if you look at the pace of this, according to the World Economic Forum, like 133 million new jobs will be created by 2022. We don't even know what they're going to be yet. Some of them we're already starting to see. So my thing is that technology can bring talent into the region, like people do Searchy interviews all around the world. Suddenly we can attract that person that is at Google in Silicon Valley that wants to come to the region. We can attract people from London. Let's get these people here and let's get them involved with the people at the universities that are doing the studying. Let's bridge this gap, right? Build bridges and create this whole ecosystem
Totally
of
true.
learning between regions. So from Silicon Valley, we're going to bring people here, like in big workshops. From here, we're going to take CEOs there. There's so many big plans.
Totally
that we
true,
have.
but I want to add something. I have been privileged to be as well exposed to some initiatives that are made institutionally to create and these platforms and nurture these talents at the level of the young Emirati population. I have seen, I've witnessed the rise of the team around the Smart Dubai. Most of them, obviously, as well, UAE nationals. I have seen recently in GITEX, we've been presented by the person who's heading Abu Dhabi Digital, the initiative that they have. And I have been literally impressed by young women and men, young Emirati women and young men that are now driving these initiatives.
Yeah.
So there is, of course, a very strong push by the leadership that within the UAE population, you have these. If you go today at the, what used to be the small mall in Emirates Towers.
Yeah, I know. It's totally
There
transformed.
isn't anymore.
Yeah.
It is transformed as a place to have this momentum exist, be vibrant, and you see constantly. Yesterday by accident, we were waiting, there was an event, we went to this youth place, and we sat there was computer left there, so the young guy came and said, we just talked to him, what are you doing? I'm doing an application, I'm creating an ecosystem to match offer and demand in terms of sports, impressive, very, So, and what made my day, when we introduced ourselves, it was me, it was Deputy CEO, it was one of our vice presidents, and we told him we are from Du. He said, I applied and I'm waiting for my offer to go to do. So I felt so good because that bright young man, Emirati young, is going to join us. So and he had an application. He's an entrepreneur. He's pushing for that. He's building everything. So this is happening.
Yeah.
So what Hisham was saying is absolutely true. It's to the point because it's saying the skills, the talent, but it's a journey. It's a process. What I know is that in the UAE, this process is being accelerated. So hopefully we will get results in a faster way.
And Saudi, if you look at the scale of what's
Saudi,
happening there
things
as
are
well.
going at a very fast
Amazing
pace.
pace.
Amazing pace.
And I think that my personal take on that really is by creating economic empowerment within the communities, right? So whichever country we look at, how do we utilize the people that exist there, the citizens of the country, to really make sure that they are part of the journey of what's happening, the excitement, and get involved, and not and it goes all the way through, even from young ages of how they're being educated, how they're moving then into the workplace, how the guy that you said didn't hear back from Do, right? If you're using AI, suddenly, thousands of interviews can happen from AI.
Absolutely.
And then that person can be flagged as a person that you should be meeting, right? As a company. So we can accelerate. And I think talent getting lost, especially graduates, really frustrates me. Like, I actually feel really sorry for them because they get judged on experience. So you haven't got experience, you haven't got experience. No, but they've got competencies.
Yeah.
They've got amazing competencies.
They've got skills.
And they've got the ability, they've got the agility, they've got adaptability, their willingness, learning agility could be super high. That's what you need in your talent.
You inject here and there, because I want to move from talent to the induced effect on culture.
Yeah.
Their thinking being totally differently. As I said this, you inject them in what we call incumbents. I consider ourselves like, these large companies we become. You inject them, it's really like you're giving a shot of steroids to the culture of a company to make it vivid, etc. So this is where I'm extremely optimistic that you said it, we are privileged because we are in a country where the leadership is taking this extremely serious. Actually, the push is coming.
From the top.
Be it from the top.
Yeah.
We want this country to be at the forefront of nations when it comes to digital.
Yeah.
So it's clearly expressed. And the human factor, the subject dear to my heart, because the human aspect, because I always say it's not about technology, where are people into this? When His Highness, the ruler of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, set the ambition for Dubai as a smart city, he didn't say only we wanted to be the smartest city in the world. He said we wanted to be the smartest and happiest city of the world. What a beautiful reminder that what is the most noble ambition? The human, the people should be always driving that. Technology is an enabler to that.
Exactly. No, we speak the same language.
Something of what you're doing.
Yeah. No.
Something of what you're doing. Technology is enabling actually to show better this human insight that you're giving.
And it's humans to machines, back to human, and humanity and impact, and the power of happy people in the workplace is immense, right? What you talked about, it is like a shot, however you eloquently put it there, a shot of steroids. It will do amazing things for culture. So that's really where Searchie is focusing. And I think with the knowledge of people like Osman, I hope some of the entrepreneurs and businesses that are sitting there wondering what to do, I think the most important thing is do something. Because if you don't, I actually hear of businesses that shut down every week, and these are big brands, these are sometimes even companies that were really growing fast, completely closed down. And why? Because they didn't change.
Yes.
They didn't change, and the pace of change is accelerating, so don't get left behind. I did want to make a big announcement, but I think I have to wait till January. We have got something really exciting with Osman, so we will save that for Q1 of next year and we'll announce it. But I really honoured to have you today. I've really enjoyed our discussion.
That was a very pleasant moment. I thank you. Thank you for being with me here, and the conversation was really amazing. And actually the people who were asking us questions. Harvey, Hisham, Z.
Gavin's got
Gavin.
Gavin's,
Totally agree with some good interview. Thanks, Gavin. The guys were amazing. Very, I mean, their remarks or questions really to the point. Actually, I think a lot of us, what we need is more and more these conversations to happen.
Absolutely.
And actually, Hisham is saying this, saying we need to. He's expressing an appetite to be part of these discussions and conversation. We should do more.
We should do more of them, and we're actually going to host events. We're like breakfast briefings and meetings. We really want to open up to people. Say, come and join us. Have these chats with us. Just to give you some update, Gavin Payne is the incredible innovation director at First Abu Dhabi Bank. And what is really amazing is that he has started a whole movement, right, working closely with the business, but separating it out from the bank to say, okay, what does the business need? So what you said, let's start with the problems, and then the Innovation Lab's job is to solve that and with the engagement. So Gavin, well done. I think you're doing some amazing stuff with your team there. I was there earlier today, and I think they're a great example of quite a unique environment in this region that really are pushing the boundaries and want to reinvent and make sure that they are addressing things way before they become big problems, right? So they've taken a proactive approach.
And is absolutely right. The word, I mean, you know, this thing about moving from the certainties to the uncertainties, more and more, I'm convinced it's about conversations.
Yeah.
It's about conversations because, as I said, it's becoming a multi-stakeholder, a diversity of stakeholders. It's about data, so you get your facts right, and then the conversations, and then the humility of moving from a mindset of the right answer to what I call having the right question. We are not, none of us, everywhere in the world, we're not in a stage where we can pretend we have now the right answers. I think if we have the right questions about these new models and ecosystems, keeping in mind that these will change, then we are having a fair chance of getting closer and closer to, you know, just frame properly the issues that and the transformation that we are contemplating.
And entrepreneurs have to be a little bit crazy, right? So go out there, do it. Just make sure that you're researching, you're trying things out, because corporates are less likely to be able to allow that craziness in their environment, but they can partner with it if you've tried and tested and made it work. And I love the fact that Osman, while he was here, we had quite a big breakthrough. You brought us some good luck in the office. So,
yes.
We were here and we just are testing our first Arabic release of our avatar. So Sarah was speaking Arabic, and I'm so happy that you actually got to witness a breakthrough while you're in the office.
Yeah, and for a start, amazing. Because that's the first. I mean, I'm privileged. I was in the office. We were waiting for this interview, and then you know it's.
We got called by the tech team. I think we've cracked it. So fingers crossed, we'll be announcing.
Congratulations for that.
Thank you. A journey that we're on, and we're just getting started. So thank you so much today for tuning in. I really wish I didn't have to rush off, because I think I could sit here with you for another hour and really enjoying this conversation. We will let you know when we start doing more events, and we will definitely put a plan together. It's already in our feedback, and we are going to proactively do something about this. So look out, we'll post everything on LinkedIn. Do share this with people in your network that you think could get value from the conversation today. Send us any comments afterwards, and thank you for all the questions. I promise I will get back to all of you on there. Sorry I haven't had time to address all of them. And we look forward to you again. See you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.